There has always been something compelling about an underdog to me. Something about persevering even when the odds are stacked against you. About defying expectations and achieving excellence in the face of doubt. An underdog pushes the limits of conventional knowledge with nothing less than the intractable drive of the human spirit. Such an entity is held in noble esteem even in defeat because, if only for a brief moment, the impossible was made to seem within our grasp. Historically, Sega has been the kind of company that always seemed like it was trying to punch above its weight class. From their feisty invasion into a console market dominated by Nintendo during the fourth console generation, to the tragically swift demise of the Dreamcast, that secured an enduring rockstar status for Sega's final system. Sega always tried to push the boundaries of the industry by striving to do what people never dreamed could be done, by striving to be ahead of their time at any and all costs. Perhaps the best example of an underrated Sega console, at least in the United States, was the Sega Saturn. This system was criminally neglected in the West, while in Japan it was actually quite popular. So popular, in fact, that it actually outsold the Nintendo 64 in that region during the fifth generation of home consoles. As a young boy, I remember the Sega Saturn being barely a blip on my radar during the time of its release. In fact, I specifically asked my dad for a coveted Sony PlayStation. Not long after, he found a Sega Saturn for cheap at a local garage sale and gave that to me instead. Initially, my time was occupied with games such as Tomb Raider and Resident Evil, which, while definitely fun, I noticed they seemed to look inferior to their PlayStation counterparts. I started to wonder, did the Sega Saturn suck? Little did I realize that my fragile little mind was about to be blown by what this system had to offer. Before I knew it, my doubts about the quality of the Sega Saturn were completely swept away by titles such as Virtua Fighter 2, Street Fighter Alpha 2, and the Panzer Dragoon games. The Saturn had impressive offerings in 3D, and more especially in the nearly arcade-perfect 2D fighters and platformers. However, it would not be long until some of the Saturn's best games would begin to skyrocket in price as I reached adulthood. And while accessories like the Action Replay cartridge made the vastly superior and much more reasonably priced Japanese library for the system possible for me to enjoy, the ability to play backups on my system without resorting to risky techniques like the swap trick was sorely missed. Flash forward to 2018, when a channel by the name of Rockergaming generously provided a modified Japanese Model 1 Sega Saturn equipped with a new and improved laser with the ability to play Sega Saturn games from any region, including backup discs. This little beauty was donated by Rockergaming to Dat Game Collector's channel, who hosted a video game competition between several channels with the modified Sega Saturn as a prize. Despite my best efforts, I lost out to a channel by the name of Maine-ly Gaming, and it seemed like my dream of having a Sega Saturn with ultimate levels of functionality was once again outside of my reach. Amazingly, Maine-ly Gaming was aware of my reverence for the Sega Saturn and offered to trade it to me for some games that were nowhere near the value that the console was worth. At last, the entire library of the Sega Saturn, with titles that are so ridiculously priced that only a select few have ever been able to own them, are now fully available to me. And this is all thanks to the amazing generosity of Rockergaming and Maine-ly Gaming. You guys, I cannot express enough how much this means to me. I have not been this happy and excited since I discovered my very first Sega Saturn decades ago. From the bottom of my heart, thank you both so much. This is truly a dream come true for an old Sega diehard like me. Guys, I mostly made this video just to express my gratitude and my excitement for having this truly awesome and magnificent Sega Saturn. if you get the chance, I definitely recommend checking out Rockergaming's channel. Watching him modify consoles is like poetry in motion. He is truly a wizard and deserves all the subscribers in the world for what he does. Also, shout out to my boy Maine-ly Gaming, who makes some of the most amazing Sega Master System retrospectives and reviews that I have ever seen. I do not think I can ever repay you both for your generosity, but I hope my sincere gratitude conveys just how much this system and your channels mean to me. Happy gaming, everyone! I'm off to bask in the glory of Sega days long since past. Be safe, my friends, and take care, until I see you again in the next video.